that could not only benefit most, but really be the best leaders in terms of bringing this project forward to other departments. So what we're going to do is we're going to start slow, and we're going to work under phase one. And you can see the costs that roll into phase one here. This is an item that we would have to put out to bid. We'll do a request for proposals. We won't do a straight bid because this is something more than just buying a truck or a piece of equipment. We're buying technology. We're buying software and expertise. And that's what this proposal outlines is a 3-year plan, 3 phases. Phase one, again, is the TA, the town clerk, HR, IT, and recreation. And then what we do is in the second year, we deal with our permit granting boards in the DPW. And in the third year, we deal with our financial department. So that's how we've broken this down as over 3 phases. Second phase would be our permit granting departments, CPC, Board of Health, Building Department, etc. And the third year would be all of our financial operations and our financial departments. So at the end of the 3 years, what we would envision is for a cost of between $275,000 and $355,000. We'd be totally automated. What we would do is we would replace a lot of the systems that we have in-house right now. We have things like GOTMS that the board has identified as being critical. What we want to do is we want to replace those with something that we feel that works better for our needs. And you'll note that they're proposing a program called Municity in here. There are a number of different agenda items that are included in here that we'd like to automate all of our agenda processes. We feel that it's critical to really bring this project forward. The only question is about the timing. Originally, when this project was conceived, I thought that we would bring it to October town meeting. I also thought that we wouldn't have any money left in our free cash account at the end of the year because typically it's spent on snow and ice. So when I looked at the availability of free cash, I thought that this would be something that we might want to look at for June town meeting, that we propose implementing phase one at this time, and the project would begin sometime in the fall for those departments. And then we look at approximately a year from now funding phase two, or perhaps even a year in October funding the remaining phases. So I'm very happy to answer any questions if you have.
Great. I'm a little bothered, not by the proposal here, but the fact that Munis isn't complete. And I would be much more comfortable if I had a picture of where the Munis endgame is.
Yeah.
What are the other modules that are needed? What's the time frame for them? And what's the cost?
The Munis proposal would be brought to October town meeting. In speaking with Liz, it was one of the concerns that I had is, was this in any way pushing Munis out of the way? And I was informed that she wishes to come forward with the treasurer collection package and the assessing package at October town meeting. The cost of it is significantly more than $120,000. So it's not as though this project is in any way restricting us in our ability to complete Munis. She's not ready to bring it forward at June town meeting.
No, and I'm not asking for that. I think what I'm asking for is what if we look ahead and we say this is what we need to complete Munis.
Right.
And we're going to do it over this period of time. And this is the amount of money that we we need to spend on it, similar to what this is.
Right.
Although this isn't necessarily in the time frame, it's at least in 3 phases. So that we have a complete picture of the total capital outlay we need for what I consider to be the automation and the implementation of technology for the purposes of running our business. Okay, so I'm not against this.
Sure.
I just think the board should see the whole picture, and that.
So I assume you're going to make a proposal for our October town meeting associated with Munis.
Yes.
And so I think that's what you're looking for now is kind of,
because
what is that number?
I'm not sure whether at the point you finish phase one, we should be holding phase two off to finish Munis, or can we do it all at once? If you talk about the numbers, they're big numbers.
Oh, these are big.
Yeah.
And Munis is going to be big too.
These are certainly big numbers. The only question is timing. The only question is really timing at this point, Bob.
But with Munis, it's really
I want to be clear. I'm not saying that we shouldn't go forward with phase one of this project and do it in the time frame that you want. I'm just missing this other page. And I think we should look at that because maybe when we understand the total cost of it, we might want to finance it differently.
Separate projects is what, although they have compatibility, they're really two different things.
I think what you're getting at is we probably can't afford to do both.
No, I'm not saying that. I'd like to know what the total cost of doing both is and how we're going to spend this money. How do we put a budget together to get both of these done? Okay, and obviously you come up with
I know exactly what it's going to cost me to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd like to know what it's going to cost us and what's the rough game plan for getting Munis finished. I mean, what I don't want to do is say, okay, we got this all done.
Yep.
And Munis is still sitting out there. We didn't finish the first goal. It doesn't make sense to me.
Where's the school department on all of this? So what have they done in relation to
this?
To this?
Zero.
No, that's another.
Well, then to me,
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
They haven't done anything with it.
No, that's why I'm asking, because if we're going to look at this as a community as a whole here, there may be some economies of scale in going out to contract for a little bigger proposal, a bigger project, and get them on board. Sure. Because they do generate some paper.
Sure.
And again, it's something that we need to do and need to embrace. And it sounds like the way that you're phasing it in, it's not going to tax the, so to speak, the finance department until year 3.
Exactly.
Phase 3.
It was deliberately structured that way.
So that, the Munis thing, which is going to take a considerable amount of your time and energy and effort for implementation.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, right. So
what I'm
so
concerned about is
but
moving forward with this project, right? In terms of total dollars of what's needed for Munis, I think we ought to know that. And then we make a decision as to whether this gets spread out more in time, or we're going to pay for it, out of existing revenue, or are we going to go off and finance the whole thing, which might be the best thing to do and get it all done.
Right. I don't disagree with you on that either. But again, I'd like to incorporate, or offer to incorporate the school department in this undertaking.
Sure.
We could bring it up at a finance.
I can have a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, the finance committee team's a good venue. You talk to the superintendent.
We will have come fall a new business manager.
Right. And the thing is because the cost is so great, maybe looking at financing it a little bit differently than just from free cash. Because again, the cost benefit of this certainly is beyond 5 years.
Sure.
So it's worth looking at the bonding.
Right, exactly.
And again, instead of delaying the project,
I'd like to have a whole plan in place of how to finance it in a time frame that we're going to do it, and make sure that we're all committed to it. And then it doesn't necessarily have to hold anything up.
Yeah, I can tell you the departments are excited about this. They wish that we had done a study like this with Munis because people can see how this works for them. They can see how this can help them do their job better and easier.
Well, their website, if you go to the general code website, it's actually pretty good stuff on there.
Yeah.
It really does give you a good tutorial on how you're approaching this. But the one piece I don't understand is the laser fiche. I thought the technology team that you pulled together actually thought that laser fiche was...
Well, this is kind of...
Is this a different type of laser fiche?
This is a newer version.
The newer version.
This is a newer
It's a
version.
different company.
Same company.
It is.
But what the first version of Laserfiche that exists in the town clerk's office and only in the town clerk's office is a dinosaur compared to this.
That's what I heard.
Because that is only a document filing and retrieval tool.
Right.
which is dependent upon file name.
Okay.
This is more of a enterprise work solution to help us automate systems and processes in place right now. For example, automating, I'm going to use citizen activity forms. I don't know if you saw it in the recommendation. Right now, the citizen activity form comes in, Jackie photocopies it, she emails it or puts it in your packet. She gets a copy of it to whatever the board or committee chair is of the committee. And then if you automate it, it automatically sends a copy to you. It automatically sends a copy to the chair of the committee. It sends a note back to the person who applies online that your citizen activity record has been received. It'll schedule it in a calendar. It'll provide notices. So it's just much more efficient in terms of working its way through the system. We have something called an employee transaction form. I don't know if you've ever seen them in Town Hall. They're a document. It's a document that hits about 5 or 6 different signatures. I'm the last one. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to identify as many processes that hit as many hands as possible and try to automate those processes. An employee transaction form goes to HR, the finance department, the department head, the TA, and then it goes back to accounting. So it hits 5 different departments. So if we can automate that, and that's the goal of this program, is to identify those things like the citizen activity records that you don't think is a big deal, but it takes a lot of time. Those are the things that we're trying to automate. And in each department we've asked the consultant to identify what those things are so that we can get those things back online and make them electronic.
So does this replace Dropbox too?
Could. I mean, right now,
Dropbox is just a transporter of information. We're not using it in the cloud for storage.
Right. But maybe we can tie
Well, it
into
still
this.
has to be a method of getting
Yeah.
the information.
At least what I read, it sounded like it has some of that same type of capability.
They
So when
have
you
a-
update a document, we can actually see what you updated. It's nice, and it tracks
Yeah.
files, and it tracks who.
That has other implications associated with remote access. I'm just saying.
You're right.
there's a-
No, it's not.
I mean, one of the simple things, and I know it's always a source of irritation with people, is with Dropbox, with this program, and it's a real simple little thing. I said, when you create your agenda, as soon as you create your agenda and you hit final, it automatically posts it on the town website and does an email blast out to everyone that signs up for it. Right now, those are all manual. Someone says, well, you didn't post it. We don't want to have someone be responsible for going to the town website and then posting it, grabbing a document. It should be push a button once the agenda becomes final. Then you get a copy of it. A copy of it gets blasted out to everyone, and the report gets done. That's what we're trying to work toward, is that type of thing.
So what are you looking for us right now, Greg?
Just to say that you like the idea and you like the project, and you keep an open mind about it going forward once we get the munis schedule and the time frame.
Okay.
I've got money reserved for it, for this, if we want to do it.
Where's the money coming?
Free cash.
I like the idea, I like the concept, I want you to take it. I want you to expand it for the school department.
Sure.
And again, as far as the funding, in conjunction with the munis, we should look at the funding the entire projects. If it's gonna be over a period of time, maybe we should be borrowing the money and appropriating it in that fashion. So,
And if we went down that route, you could put that free cash into the stabilization.
Yeah, that's exactly what we would. That's exactly what we would do.
Okay.
That's the exact
Concept. I really like the concept.
What else do we have that we need to?
do we wanna make a recommendation or not at this point?
I think we can wait until next week, and by then.
Okay, but as far as for printing the warrant, to sign the warrant next week.
No, the 7th.
2 weeks.
7th.
2 weeks, excuse me, 2 weeks.
We're meeting on
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a public hearing.
Yep.
All right,
So
so we can wait.
we'll hold off on
Yeah.
recommendation of that until the 30th.
Okay.
Retirement obligations.
$250,000 raised and appropriated for the town and for the schools to pay the buybacks of employees at the end of their career.
Can I have a motion?
Move to recommend Article 10.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, second by Mr. Fresco, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Transfer funds